Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the Late the W podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mahal. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, leave a 5-star review, all of that fantastic jazz. If it's your first time joining, make sure you follow on social media at Light the W Pod on all of that. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're active on all of those. So, without further ado, let's sound the horn and get into this episode.
The pitch from Acevedo.
Swung on the line, down the left field line for a base hit.
Fly ball, gap, right center field. And
Double him up at second.
Luke is going back to the 1-8 track. Get out the right, Brendan Buster, grandma. It is grand salami time.
will send Seattle to the American League Championship Series for the first time in 24 years.
Happy Thursday, Mariners fans. We are 3 days after Brendan Donovan became a Seattle Mariner. Finally, episode 118 of the Light the W podcast starts now. And welcome in, Jeff. How are we doing?
Hey everyone, my name is Jeff Budke. Please stop pitching to Aaron Judge. He has a 208 OPS the last 3 years. Stop it. That stadium is a joke. Stop pitching to him.
Yeah, I like that take. We like the
I'm coming in hot every episode.
Coming
with
in
an
hot
anti-Aaron
on a
Judge.
Thursday morning.
Let's go
8:30
Seahawks.
a.m. Jeff is ready to go. All right. Seahawks play in a few days. Brendan Donovan got traded to Seattle a few days ago. Feels like we're in the middle point of a few big things going on in Seattle sports, but we can talk about both of them. Jeff, let's start with Brendan Donovan. What were your original thoughts on the trade?
My original thoughts were I can't wait to celebrate with Mahal because it's his birthday. It's his Christmas, Hanukkah. It's his everything. I don't know where you're at in life, but buy a lottery ticket, young man, because the Seahawks and Brendan Donovan are a part of your life.
Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of what it's feeling like. It's like
And then you
first
released
week back
2
in
episodes in
school.
one day.
They're lucky they did that with the Tuesday following because, oh my God, I would not have been able to do much. But I guess I did it mostly on a Monday, which I had 4 classes in the morning, and then I was like, you know what, Brendan Donovan, now you're giving me energy. So I'm so excited for Donovan. I can't wait to get my jersey sometime this summer. I think there's going to be a new City Connects at some point, so I'm
The big
kind of
33.
bummed out.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of love it. 33 was my first number as a kid in soccer, so I'm like, this is kind of perfect.
Larry Bird.
Yeah, it's kind of the perfect number.
Casper Wells.
Yeah, I don't even know who
Thought
that
you'd
is.
like that name. Former
Don't
Mariner
even-
medium. In 2001, I fell in love with baseball. There's 2 obvious reasons for that. Number 1 is the Seattle Mariners winning 116 games. But also that year, there were 2 rookies that finished top 5 in MVP voting. The winner, Ichiro Suzuki, and in the National League, 4th place, Albert Pujols. And I loved both of them. Obviously loved the Mariners, but Pujols was unlike any player I'd ever seen. He had a wide batting stance. He hit everything hard. That barrel rate, that savant page, I can't even imagine. He played at the same time as Barry Bonds, and still he finished with 9 top 5 MVP finishes in 10 years with the Cardinals. The 1 year outside of the top 5, he finished 9th. He won 3 MVPs, 2 World Series. Before Twitter or before social media, I was aligned with Cardinals fans. I loved Albert Pujols and cheered for him whenever. The Cardinals, like the venom from this offseason and just the antagonistic relationship they seem to have with baseball and humanity aside, I am very thankful for Brendan Donovan. I hope that you cheer for him too on our team, and I can't wait to see what he does. And y'all might be in the cellar for a little bit. We know that really well. Like, as Mariners fans, we know exactly what you're talking about. And what's JJ's name? The one you keep saying to me that I can't remember?
JJ Weatherholtz.
He's coming. Don't worry, St. Louis fans. You'll be happy again. But Brendan Donovan, his doubles will go down with us because it's T-Mobile, but I think he might have a little bit more pop, and I'm so excited to have him.
Yeah, absolutely right. And on the Cardinals, we're always welcoming new Mariners fans. So if you want to join us for a few years, welcome in. And on that also, the Cardinals were sort of in the area where the Mariners were stuck for like 20 years of just mediocrity. So I gotta say, if you're a Cardinals fan, you're feeling a little bit down that they're taking a step back, take that and run with it because really this is what you have to do. Um, I fell in love with baseball. You talked about 2001. 2021 was the year that I really started falling in love with this Mariners team and falling in love with baseball and getting into it. And it's not to say that I wasn't into baseball before, but it was a whole nother level. Watching the rebuild finally fully like come to fruition and see all these guys coming up, these young kids, and it was just a fun, enjoyable team to watch, winning late ball games, all this stuff. So this Cardinals team, for you Cardinals fans, if you're listening randomly, enjoy yourselves in a few years. Enjoy a few years without the stress of postseason or late September baseball,
Okay.
because I will say, as enjoyable as it is, it's also quite stressful. And having to go and sit down every night and watch your baseball team for 2.5 hours can be enjoyable, can also be not so enjoyable.
This was
So
the least healthy winter I've ever had, and I blame the Mariners October for it. I did not take care of myself, and the stress, whew, baby.
yeah, exactly right.
Can't
Now,
wait, can't
I
wait to
guess
do it
next
again.
winter is going to be the same.
Can't wait to do it again.
On that, Jeff, Mariners added Brendan Donovan. They gave up a few pieces. I didn't fully talk about the package. I don't think it's any crazy overpay. The extra pick from the Mariners, I will say, pushed it a little bit further towards being like, it's a little bit uncomfortable. But Brendan Donovan's a really good player. I'm really excited about it. You look at the package, you look at the player. How do you feel about the trade overall?
I cannot believe any pushback. I cannot understand it. Cannot fathom it. The Seattle Mariners, for the second time in the last 20 years, are trying to win a World Series. That's the end of the sentence. It doesn't matter. If a player who is 13th in the last 3 years in on base percentage in Major League Baseball is available and you can give up two, three. To me, Williamson, I don't want to be dismissive. I'm not trying to be rude or anything like that. He was not going to contribute for this baseball team in a positive way. And so I don't even include that as part of the deal, really. He gets a chance to play. You had mentioned maybe he's in Tampa Bay AAA. That would be hard to stomach for him personally, but he might be. Um, Ty Pete is really young. This isn't like trading Adam Jones, where we knew a lot more things about Adam Jones. We don't know a lot about Ty Pete. We don't know about if you're a pitcher pitching with both hands, you might not be a pitcher that is ready yet. So this is a trade you have to make 9 out of 10 times, probably 10 out of 10, if the state of the team is trying to win and win right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny to look at Mariners fans on Twitter and they complain about the Mariners not spending money, not wanting to win, and all this stuff. And while the payroll is low, and that might be something we get into later, they're still a damn good team, and they might be the best team in the American League. And now people are complaining about them trying to win. They're like, early in the offseason, let's go trade George Kirby for Ketel Marte. And then you trade Durangelo St. and Ben Williamson with Ty P in a Comp B pick, and oh, what are we doing? This is a terrible, terrible trade. And look, Brendan Donovan has 2 years of control. He's making just $5.5 million this year. This to me is an extension candidate even after those 2 years. He doesn't seem like the type of guy that's going to get paid a whole lot. I talked about it on my big episode on Donovan 117. I talked about how in the clubhouse he's just going to be a perfect fit. This is the type of guy that I think the fan base is going to fall in love with. And for people that are complaining about your team trying to win, respectfully, just F off.
Go away.
Just F off.
Go away. You
Like,
don't understand.
go be a fan of the A's.
You definitely want a Soto, an Otani, a Judge, whatever. I know you want that. I know you want Ketel Marte. I know that he's a top 100, top 20 player on MLB Network, which, like, honestly, who cares? And that's fun. Brendan Donovan is such a solid player that you got for prospects that will not impact a team for a year or two or three. You have to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at the market that the Mariners have, and they have a larger market than they're willing to accept, but the market that they sort of portray themselves being in, this is how you have to build your team. And Jerry Dipoto, like, can I just give kudos to that guy? Because him and Justin Hollander, the job that they have done really their entire tenure, you look at the one off season they really struggled was, what was that, 23 to
23.
24?
We
And
hate that one.
yeah, we hate that one. But even that, like, I look at how I thought about that on opening day of 2024, and like, I felt fine about it. The process wasn't like some catastrophe or like terrible thing. It just didn't work out, and there were a few mistakes. You look at Luis Urias,
Well,
stuff
their
like that.
goal
So
right now, that goal in 2023 was to reduce strikeouts and increase on base percentage. And it took them 3 years, but they have done it now. Josh Naylor, Brendan Donovan, these are guys that are disciplined baseball players.
yeah, and I've seen a couple people now complaining that they don't have enough power in their lineup, and I'm like, what do you guys want? Do you want the power with a bunch of strikeouts in this lineup that's super, super volatile, or do you want a lineup that has a mix of both, that's balanced, and that can do all these different things? I talked about it at the start of the offseason. I went back and looked at some of my notes. This is exactly the type of offseason you wanted this team to have. You make your lineup more balanced. I remember watching the Blue Jays in the postseason and being like, can we have an offense like that where it's balanced, where it's long, and it's not necessarily the longest lineup yet for the Mariners, but if you have a few things click right, this lineup gets really long and really dangerous.
So my first question for you today was, I know you don't deal in hypotheticals, you deal in savant pages and the like. However, if this team closes out Game 7 of the ALCS, if this team competes with and or beats the Dodgers, how is our offseason different than it is today?
I think the only difference might be that you have Polanco instead of Donovan, and I'd argue that I want Donovan for the long haul over Polanco.
We love Polo. We believed that Polo was clutch for us. His bookends were amazing, but throughout a whole season, Brendan Donovan is going to produce more than Polanco will this year.
And I think it's not even necessarily this year, but I think it's, you look at over the course of what he's going to do in his Mariners tenure. You look at this year, you look at next year, and hopefully they extend him. And after that, I think he's just going to be able to bring more in the future. And he's only costing you a small bit of money. And there's only a week now until pitchers and catchers report. So there's only a week truly left of the offseason. Obviously, you can do stuff in spring training, but the Mariners still have like $10-ish million to spend if they wanted to spend it. So they could go get themselves another reliever. They could go get themselves a reliever and a little lower tier bat, someone like a Ramon Urias, who has been talked about extensively as a right-handed hitting option that could be someone that hits lefties, plays all around the infield, sort of as another piece alongside Donovan, because while Donovan is so good, he does struggle against lefties a little bit. I do think it's a tiny bit overblown, to be honest, but it could make sense for the Mariners to make a few more moves, and they have the ability to do it. You bring in Jorge Polanco. This guy made $20 million a year. They are over budget if they tried and bring Polanco in. And he just went off on his career year. He gets injured most years. It's entirely likely that this guy plays less than 100 games for the Mets this year. Like, entirely likely.
I,
I'd rather have Donovan.
I would take the under. On the contrary, on the opposite side, if Spencer Torkelson hits his 17th home run of the series in the division series and we lose to the Tigers, instead of winning it in the 14th, we lose in the 11th or whatever, how does that change? What would our offseason have been different in that scenario?
I mean, again, I think it would be pretty similar. I do wonder whether they would have gotten Donovan. I think people would have been a little bit more accepting of running with Colt Emerson and Cole Young just kind of in the infield. And I wonder if they would have bucked up a little bit. Because while they didn't like do anything crazy for Donovan in terms of the trade, it did feel like both teams sort of like came to each other a little bit, with the Rays being the middle ground. So I'm looking at it, and I think it'd be pretty similar. I could entirely see them getting Donovan. I could entirely see them not. But I think the rest of the offseason, other than that, would be pretty similar.
The point I'm trying to make with this is that the Mariners have been so savvy this offseason. They've done such a good job. They haven't let anything sway them as far as results or the playoffs. We played in 12 games. The Blue Jays played in 19. It's a small sample size. You have to treat each offseason individually. I think the Mariners have just done a splendid job. I gave it an A before Donovan, and you laughed. But now I think we could probably get up there.
I think you could get close. I will say, I think there are a few things that I could see the Mariners doing the rest of this offseason. The one thing that hasn't really been talked about is backup catcher, and Mitch Garver is still out on the market, and people are not going to like the name. But if you sign him to like a $3, $4, $5 million deal, like who cares?
Sure.
I don't know if you'd want to come back, but he's a better option than what they have. He's a fine backup catcher. He knows the organization. He knows the team. I think it could make entirely a ton of sense for this team to go do that. Sure up the backup catcher position. Your bench looks a whole lot better than it does right now. Andrew Kisner, I'm not going to lie, scares me a little bit. That guy brings a lot of nothing. Cal Raleigh's playing a ton of games this year. He's got the WBC to cap it all off after playing a ton of games last year. So what is he going to be able to do consistently? I have questions around that. And then your backup catcher is Andrew Kisner. So it could make sense for them to do something like that.
I'm also down for this team to wait and see at this point and make moves at the deadline, add later. I think Garver's interesting too. If you were Luke Raley, would you want to be a part of this team, or would you rather be playing somewhere else and trying to get paid? I've been thinking about Luke Raley a lot lately for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, I have a question as well about the outfield situation. It's so weird. And both him and Robles, I think about it and I'm like, how do those guys feel about Canzone and Refsnyder? How do those guys feel about playtime? How do those guys feel about Seattle? And I think both of them, want to be on winning teams, want to be in a place where they're comfortable, and they're both comfortable, I'm sure, here. Both are coming off down seasons. They could both bounce back, of course. But you asked about Raley. I mean, I think if I'm him, there's things that he can bring to this roster that I don't really think any of the other outfielders necessarily have. I look at his speed. I look at the ability to play center field, a little bit more defensive of an option compared to especially Canzone and Refsnyder. And Robles is a guy that if I'm him, I'd feel even a little bit worse because this is a guy that hasn't hit left-handed pitching all that well over the past few years. And that's kind of what his role is going to be, I want to say, this year. So I look at it, and if I'm him, I'm thinking, what is my role? How am I going to bring stuff to this team? And if either one of these guys struggles off the bat, how quickly are they not seeing much playtime, and how quickly are they potentially off this team?
Yeah. I'm not worried about team chemistry. I'm not worried about anything like that. I'm worried about what kind of life is it for Luke Raley, who might go a week without playing an inning? What does that do for the mental? What does that do for that kind of, person? Robles too, like it might just all work itself out. I am interested in Dominic Canzone picking up a first base glove every once in a while, seeing what happens. That's not going to happen though. So how are these guys going to meld? How are these guys going to be? How are they going to deal with that uncertainty? Whereas, because we have 5 guys right now who are going to play every day, more than likely.
Yeah, well, and I think the other piece of it is you mentioned him potentially not playing an inning, not playing 9 innings through a week. It's really hard to get a bat going when you're not playing that much. You need playtime to be able to get it back going. So if these guys, don't start off well through April, how are they supposed to find their footing? How are they supposed to find, the ability to play and play every day when they're not warranting it for a team that needs to win games, has big aspirations, and at the deadline, corner outfielders are not that hard to come by and not that hard to get. And we might have to cross that bridge when we have to, but if we get to the deadline and those guys, or even June, and those guys are still struggling, they could be out the door real quick.
It's a great problem to have, but it is something this team has never dealt with, and Dan Wilson has definitely never dealt with. So it'll be interesting to see how they manage that.
Yeah, and I look at it, and a question for you, Jeff. Of the outfield situation, there's 4 guys there, right? Robles, Raley, Refsnyder, the 3 Rs, and Dom Canzone. Who do you believe in most and least right now heading into 2026?
Well, this is the Dominic Canzone show. I'm a huge part of that. I believe in Dom the most. Did you include him, or were you talking about the three R's
Yeah.
really? Robles,
I mean, I
Rayleigh.
would say all of them.
I believe in Ref Snyder. I do not believe in Robles or Rayleigh as far as how are they going to contribute. I'm very nervous for how they're going to handle it. Robles, I don't know if you know this, but he threw a baseball bat at a person last year uh, when he got mad. So how is he going to handle not being in the lineup 5 days in a row? I'm a little worried about that. I think Ref Snyder is of the right age and temperament, and he knows what he signed up for. That I think he's just going to be a professional. He's going to be ready to go. Whereas Rayleigh
Yeah,
and
and
Robles, I'm concerned about.
yeah, and I don't know if you listened to Ref Snyder when he was on the Hot Stove show, but I
Mm.
listened to his interview with I don't even know Gary Hill, I think is who it was, and maybe Aaron Goldsmith, and
I like
this
Gary
guy
Hill.
knows his role. I'm okay with Gary Hill,
Okay.
but he knows his role. He knows how to prepare, and I think that's going to be really advantageous. I talked about Robles' splits, by the way, left versus right briefly. Just want to give you numbers on that from 2024 when he was like good, right? He had a good 2024, and he was opening day leadoff hitter in 2025 for the Mariners. Well, left versus right, this guy was a 164 WRC plus versus right-handed pitching. Versus left, Jeff, 90,
164.
a 98 WRC plus. This guy was below average against left-handed pitching.
That's weird.
And what is his role kind of going to be with a couple left-handed hitting outfielders? To hit lefties,
That's odd.
right?
How are they going to manage that? Is he going to be like a defensive sub every game for Canzone, regardless of matchup? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think the way they're planning it right now is DH is just going to be a split between Canzone and Ref Snyder because neither are that great defensively. Um, and then obviously every once in a while mix them into right. And then to start off, it's Rayleigh and Robles in right field. And Rayleigh's facing right-handed pitching, Robles facing left-handed pitching, at least for the most part. Which you're looking at the splits. I don't know if that's going to work for Robles. So the question I asked you is who do you believe in most? Who do you believe in least? I look at Victor Robles as the guy I believe in least.
Hmm.
And it's not because he's like a worse player than Rayleigh, but the role that he has for this team, I don't know if he fits that role.
He got DFA'd by a last place team 2 years ago, so it's not the craziest take.
No, and he has a ton of potential, and we saw that potential. But again, a lot of that potential was because of a guy named Jarrett DeHart, who was the Mariners hitting coach in 2024. He's gone. He left before last year to go to the Yankees. So again, he made some swing changes. He was better with Seattle in 2024 and then was hurt for most of 2025. There's some real reasons to be concerned about Victor Robles, I think, heading into 2026.
Absolutely. I am not concerned about us being too left-handed. My third question for you is, were the Mariners victorious 3 times versus the Tigers when Tariq Skubal pitched? And the answer is yes.
Yes, in fact, they were.
Okay, I guess I'm not too worried about it. Don't worry, Locked On podcast, the day we got Brendan Donovan, their episode was called Are the Mariners Too Left-Handed? Because they're just a basket of joy.
Colby Patno, #1 positive Mariners fan.
You can find like the Hot Stove Report that's paid for by the Mariners. Like you get why that's so positive. You get why they're like Logan Gilbert. Why is Cal Raleigh fun? Ha ha ha. And then you listen to the Locked On one. And you're like, do these guys enjoy their job, this role, this life? I have no
I think
idea.
we can say Ty Dane Gonzalez at least does, but
I don't know.
Sorry.
When you're around Negative Nelly that long, it starts to affect you.
Yeah, maybe that's why Mariners fans are so negative. That's one of the top Mariners podcasts.
Bob Nightingale tweeted last night, and I sent it to you about the Tigers signed Framber Valdez. AJ Hinch offering a contract to one of the least enjoyable human beings that plays baseball, like makes perfect sense to me. Nothing like telling your other ace, hey, Scooble, we're going to pay this guy, but we're not going to give you 10 extra million to be the best pitcher in baseball. And Nightingale said that they may be the American League favorites. And I laughed, And then I actually thought for a second, there are a lot of teams in the American League that think they could make it to the World Series. It's a bigger list than I thought. Of the teams who know they're not going to play in the World Series, like they are 100% certain, it's like the White Sox, the Twins, the Angels, and like every other team could make a ludicrous argument that they could do it. They're not right, but there's 12 teams that think that they could accidentally go on a run.
Yeah, I think I would probably throw Tampa into that mix, and probably Sacramento or Oakland or whatever they're called now.
If you want me to pretend that I know how Tampa runs their baseball organizations, I will not do it. I don't understand. And every couple of years, they end up in a World Series, and I've never seen my team in a World Series, so I don't know.
Fair point.
Yeah. Sacramento's pitching is up there with Baltimore's as far as hilarious, so you're probably right there.
I don't know. Those two teams, I'm like, do you not see your pitching staff? Like,
yeah. But there's a Royals fan doing a podcast somewhere that thinks they can do it.
What have they done this offseason?
I don't know.
All right. You talked about Framber Valdez. You talked about Derek Skubal. I gotta say, Derek Skubal, Seattle U alum, when he's a free agent next year, because I think it's pretty safe to say
don't do it. Don't do it.
I want the Mariners to make a run at him. I don't think they're going to because they don't make runs at big time players. But, if you had Derek Skubal for, what's he going to sign, like a 7-10-year deal?
1 year, $70 million. Come win the Mariners a championship.
I mean, you're telling me you give him a 1 to 3 year deal, even a 5-year deal. Like, this is the type of guy I'd be willing to overpay for. And then you go trade one or both of Kirby and Gilbert. I gotta say, Jeff, that's an intriguing option. Now, we're a year away from this being an actual discussion, and he could still be traded to the Dodgers and then signed for 5 years with $800 million deferred. But it's a fun thought. It's a fun thought.
And our biggest worry coming out of the postseason was, does Dan Wilson know how to manage his starters, his bullpen? Can he get better at that? Skubal makes that problem go away.
He does. He does, in fact, make that option go away.
Mm-hmm.
You let off with Bob Nightingale saying he thinks that
Bobby
the Tigers might be the best team in the American League.
Yeah.
Or Seattle.
Who's their best bat? Is it Riley Green? Sorry.
Probably Riley Green. But
guess.
Him and Kerry Carpenter both have platoon split things against lefties. So maybe that's their thought.
I said Spencer Torkelson. It's Carpenter. You're totally right. I blew it. I blew the joke earlier. Oh. Dang it.
Their offseason also got blown up by Gleyber Torres taking the qualifying offer. So credit to them for offering $20 million to Gleyber Torres.
And Trent Grisham to the Yankees. Yep. Smart stuff.
It's like, maybe you should not offer the qualifying offer for guys that would likely take a 1-year deal in a place where they were successful. Back to the question, though. Jeff, for you, do you think the Mariners are the best team right now in the American League?
I don't have a shred of doubt in my mind that we have the best roster in the American League. We are the favorites in the American League. Anything can happen. Like Sunday, anything can happen. But the Seahawks are the better team. The Mariners are the better team. It's wild stuff that's happening right now. I have not experienced sports joy like this in many a year, maybe many a decade.
It is a great year in Seattle sports.
I have a top 5 list for you. The top 5 ages to watch your favorite team win their first championship. Okay? Top 5 ages to watch your favorite team win their first championship. Number 1 is 23 years old. You're coming up on that at some point. There's two main reasons for this. You're a human garbage disposal. You can eat and put anything in your body and you'll be fine. And you know your team perfectly. 23 years old is the perfect time because you can celebrate to the max. Number 2 is 10 years old. You know how to follow this team. You've chosen a side. you cry with every loss, and you are shaking uncontrollably with every win. 10 years old is amazing. It's the coolest thing that has ever happened to you in your whole life. Number 3 is 17. This picks your personality for you. If your favorite team at 17 years old wins the championship, you become a sports person for the rest of your life. It's just you lose your choice in that matter. It defines you. It defines you. Number 4, and I'm willing to move this up, is 99 years old. Thank goodness you got one. Number 5 is 39 years old, because you can act like a child, but it will be ridiculous to all of your friends.
That's great. I gotta say though, I was about 10 years old when the Seahawks won their first Super
Yeah.
Bowl. I miss being a kid without the, stress and anxiety of these games. That game against the Rams for the Seahawks, I was a mess in the fourth quarter. A mess.
10 years old, you don't understand like the ebbs and flow of a game. It's just joy or crying uncontrollably. It's the best.
Yeah, I much prefer that to stress all game and then relief instead of jubilance when they win.
Yeah. You know too much.
Exactly. I'm consuming too much football content recently.
My last baseball note was realizing that Julio's April will happen in March in the World Baseball Classic. His May will happen in April, and his June will happen in May. This is going to be fantastic.
I like your thinking there. What was it? When was the last WBC? 2023?
Yeah, but I think he was on that DR team.
He didn't play a whole lot, I don't think.
No, he was pretty young, and I should have fact-checked that before I said it out loud.
Yeah, I gotta say, one of these years I'll be right, but I really feel like Julio is gonna have that like dominant breakout year here. Like it feels like it's gonna happen. He's getting more mature. He's getting closer to like the true prime of his career. He's still working his butt off. He had some off the field things with his house and all of that going on last year. You can see him doing stuff in his community. I really think he's gonna show up this year. Cal sort of made it his team last year. I think Julio's gonna take those reins back, make it his team once again.
If Julio made an MVP run, his biggest fan would be Cal Raleigh too. That'd be so cool.
The clubhouse of this team really is the best. And we talked about giving credit to the front office earlier in the episode. I got to give them credit for that as well. The building of this team and not bringing in just bad guys like Jesse Winker over the past year or two, I got to give him credit. And I think part of the reason they've been so picky and not shelled out these massive contracts is because when guys get massive contracts, sometimes they just become a little bit too cocky. It hurts the clubhouse. You look at the Seahawks 10 years ago, it's a little bit of what happened to them and why that, alongside the Super Bowl, which we won't talk about, are reasons why the dynasty never truly took place. So I got to give credit. The clubhouse is great. The guys seem like they love each other. 12 is 1 at Lumen, 12 is 1 at T-Mobile.
I love it. Do you want to talk Seahawks or do you want to? Oh, you have a question. Go ahead. Yeah.
I got one more question. You look at the Mariners roster in October. You look at the Mariners roster today. Which roster is better?
Today's roster.
Thanks.
Because of the pitching.
Yep.
And that's a cop-out answer, but our pitching was underwhelming, below average last year, and I will take any bets on that not happening again.
Yeah.
If you want to
that, I'd say that, and Jose Ferrer, I think, is a big addition.
It's huge. And if you want to come at me with Josh Naylor's not going to be able to produce at the same level, Brendan Donovan's going to take a minute to figure out Seattle and T-Mobile and the marine layer, just like the actual marine layer, not the podcast. Sure, I'm down to hear that conversation. I'm here for your Dominic Canzone hate. It fuels my soul. However, that pitching staff is going to come back with a vengeance. I believe that.
I also will add to that. You talk about the pitching staff. I talked about Ferrer. I also think that Matt Brash might be better this year, probably will be better, assuming he stays healthy. Another year coming off Tommy John.
Mm-hmm.
That's another piece that I think is going to be better. They also have Cole Young in a second year, Colt Emerson, a top 10 prospect in baseball. We don't know what either of those guys are necessarily going to be, but the upside is definitely there.
Yep.
So you said yes. I would agree with you. I think this is a better roster than they had when their season ended in Game 7 of the ALCS.
Yeah. The Fan Fest, I didn't make it to Fan Fest, but just all of them talking about that ALCS Game 7 loss. Like, they're all comfortable talking about it. There's no blame going around. There's no finger pointing. They all just don't want that feeling again. It reminds me of when the Seahawks lost to the Falcons in 2012, when they were a little young and they got a little bit further than they should have, and they had a really bad start and they could have won that game. They were bound and determined that whole next year. And baseball is a marathon, not a sprint, but when you're ready for the marathon, it's a lot better than when you're not.
Yep. And you got a full year of Josh Naylor. The quotes coming out about him at FanFest, by the way.
Yeah.
I freaking love this guy. Trying to lead a group to the Super Bowl. Like, this guy is the best. Like, what a perfect freaking Mariner.
He's great. And I run a lot of marathons, for those wondering.
Don't we both?
Yeah.
Marathons,
we're both big running. Yep.
That's our stuff. So the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Sunday, Jeff. Confidence level, 1 to 10.
9. Between the two of us, I know, I can tell from your text, I can tell from you're confident. You like our team. You believe in the magic of football, all that stuff. You've listened to 2 weeks of people talking themselves into a mediocre AFC team being able to compete with a team that survived the NFC, which was a gauntlet, and we were lucky to survive it. But now it's over.
Yeah. For me, it's not even like being not confident. It's like, it's one game. Mm-hmm. Anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And similar in the 49ers game, I was like, we should kill this team so bad that if we don't, or if we lose, or if this is a stressful game, it was just going to be so painful. That's how I feel about this game, is like, I know the Seahawks should win. It's a Super Bowl. And if they don't, like, I don't even want to put that thought in my head, but if they don't, like, it's going to be so disappointing.
In the last 5 weeks, we've had at San Francisco, bye week, home for San Francisco, home for the Rams, bye week. We are ready to freaking go. Mike McDonald is a stud. If you think, like, the people who are talking about the Patriots could score 24 points, their over-under's 21. I'm like, that's insane to me. Kyle Shanahan is a genius. A genius. And yes, the team was hurt, but he couldn't get a touchdown. You're telling me that Josh McDaniels, whose teams in 7 Super Bowls for the Patriots haven't scored in the first quarter, haven't scored a touchdown in the first quarter with Josh McDaniels, that he's going to be able to game plan against Mike McDonald? You don't know ball if you think this is going to happen.
Yeah, and Drake May was his second year facing a Mike McDonald defense. First time for him doing that, like, yeah, pretty much. And their offensive line versus our defensive line, like, it could be a bloodbath. I got to say, it could be a bloodbath. I hope it is.
Mike McDonald has prepared for a championship game. He won that championship game with Michigan. He has gone through these ropes. He's gone through this time off and figuring out how to game plan and keep the guys engaged. Sam Darnold has been through a Super Bowl. He was the backup for Brock Purdy. He knows about that super long halftime. There is secret experience on this team, and we're the better team. Yeah. Having said that, I think Jason Myers is going to kick like 4 field goals, and it's going to drive us insane. I have the final score at 19-9 in a boring game for 31 fan bases, but we will know that we dominated the whole time.
I like it. I think we'll get into the 20s. I feel confident in a couple touchdowns. I think at some point during this playoffs, there has got to be just a deep shot Sam Darnold touchdown to Shaheed or JSN. I thought it was going to be the one against the Rams on the first drive to Shaheed. I thought he was about to go house it.
Yeah.
But it's got to happen. I really feel like it's got to happen. And if not, I feel confident in the tight ends. I feel confident in K9. Like, it's a damn good football team. I feel pretty good about them winning this game.
Best case scenario is the Seahawks pull a Seahawks-Broncos Super Bowl, and you and I are celebrating at halftime. The best case scenario is that both teams play a wonderful game. Everyone does a great job. No one makes any huge mistakes. And the Seahawks lead by 4 with 18 seconds left. And the Patriots get to the 1-yard line and throw an interception. And we never, ever, ever, ever have to see the Malcolm Butler play again without showing the other play that happened and costing them a Super Bowl, forcing Drake May into a decade of irrelevance and the team falling apart and the fans being super sad.
Nice, Jeff. I love that for you. I love that for you. Yeah, I don't know if I could deal with that stress. I think I would be throwing up in the bathroom.
I'd be vomiting.
It'd be bad. I was practically vomiting against the Rams after Tariq Woolen's taunting penalty.
No. I don't. My bold prediction is that he will not do that again.
You think?
I do. I really think that.
I feel pretty confident in that as well.
Yeah.
Few days away. Super Bowl Sunday is in, what's that, 3 days?
3 days from Brendan Donovan,
Huntington
3 days to the Super Bowl.
for
The
it.
perfect time for us to record. What a magical time of your life.
We will be back next week, I believe.
Yeah, I'm on next
I will
week
be
because
back. Yep.
I'm out. Yeah.
So Jeff will be back a week from today. I'll be back Tuesday. Pitchers and catchers report next week. We'll be talking about starting pitching, assuming there's no big moves next week. Can't wait for that discussion. Go Hawks. Go M's.
Let's go.
Super Bowl, Brendan Donovan. What a week. Let's win it. Thank you for listening. Go M's, go Hawks. Peace.
Go M's, go Hawks.